I guess first things first, welcome to Vulcan. Probably first time in Vulcan.
Very first time in Vulcan. A lovely drive from Calgary, I must say.
As I always like to ask, what do you guys think when you get in the car and they start taking you out of town?
Well, I grew up in a small town myself in Connecticut, and I loved it because for the first time in this particular moment, I got to know what all the different colorations were, from the bulgur wheat to the sweet peas to the corn. I love that. I love learning about my world. So that was perfect. And I just came back from the Ukraine, and I found out that there's a huge Ukrainian population in Edmonton and part of Alberta. So that was fascinating.
Yeah, a big chunk of my family's Ukrainian.
Ah, see that? Well, I'm gonna tell you, in Ukraine, I was in Odessa, the historical Odessa Film Studios, where they made the film Potemkin that set the template for all kinds of war films. Beautiful people. The crews were 10 times as hard than your average jaded crew, and I really appreciate that. I had a wonderful time. They want to bring me back each year, so there you go. Maybe I'm an honorary Ukrainian.
There are worse things you could be in the world, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Tony, let's talk a little bit about your Star Trek past. Again, Worf's brother Kurn on The Next Generation, and then, of course, older Jake Sisko on DS9. Talk a little bit about the process of getting that part of Kurn to begin with, and kind of what was going through your head when you found out about it.
Well, I knew that they liked me, and I liked them. Obviously, I grew up on the original Star Trek. I auditioned 5 times for them before I got Kurn. So I knew it was a mutual love affair. They kept bringing me back, and it's pretty much in sequence. So Kurn happened to be the one that hit the jackpot, and I remember auditioning at the Marx building on the Paramount studio lot. And before I could leave the gate, the casting director came out and said, "You got to report to wardrobe." It was one of those magic moments. And of course, wardrobe in that case meant putting on the Klingon boots and the Klingon overvest and just becoming otherworldly. My very first scene was on board the Enterprise, so it was like a total 360, having watched the Enterprise and grown up on that historic name, to all of a sudden be on deck. And I'm a guest star, so I can't mess up. I had no freedom from failure. So it was a wonderful thing.
See, what I always think is interesting, a lot of the folks who come onto the show, they say, well, I really didn't watch Star Trek before, I didn't know much about it.
Really?
And then, it's impressive how many do that.
Believe them.
I don't know if anyone, it sounds like you grew up on it like a lot of us.
I was rescued by my aunt, who at the age of 3, who gave me unconditional support and creative encouragement. And one of the things we did was watch popular TV shows, Batman, Star Trek, Perry Mason, and then also watching the 8 o'clock movie, which consisted of black and white classics, Casablanca, White Heat, and she would use them as morality tale, but she infused in me my love of cinema, my love of television, my love of storytelling. So Star Trek was one of the TV shows, and Twilight Zone, of course, is a major influence on me.
So it sounds like that's one of the things that led you down the path.
Yeah, absolutely. Intentionally or not intentionally, but I knew what good storytelling was.
Well, but outside of Star Trek, I mean, you've had an amazing variety of roles in your career. You're playing all kinds of different people.
You know what? It's because I'm an only kid, and all the people that I play as an adult and get paid for are all the characters I played with as a kid. So from Alien to Pirate to the Cowboys and Indians, Cops and Robbers, all those iconic childhood mythologies I've been able to embrace as an adult and have fun. I love being an actor. I think acting is a noble profession. I think you get to travel the world. I think you get to talk to people, learn something. Like today on my ride to Vulcan, I'm learning what the colors of grass were. Before I just thought it was a green. Now I understand what Monet knew when he was drawing those impressionist paintings. So that's a beautiful thing.
Well, talk a little bit about some of your other bigger roles, more iconic roles. I guess you were the Candyman. A lot of horror fans out there, they know you and love you for that.
Fans, yeah, not necessarily here today, but yeah, a lot of horror fans all over the world. The good thing about Candyman, it's 23 years old, and not a day goes by, whether I'm at a convention or not, somebody comes up to me. I just re-teamed with Bernard Rose, who directed that on a new version of Frankenstein. It's won 2 top film honors already, including the Brussels International Film Festival. We get a release in January. In August, they're doing a retrospective at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica, a prestigious theater that does revisionist stuff. And they're doing a triple bill of Paper House, Bernard's first film, Candyman, and Frankenstein. So it'll be the first chance in North America for people to come see it. And I'm telling you that, in the original Frankenstein, he encounters a blind man. In this version is updated LA. I play a homeless blind musician who sort of adopts the monster and tries to teach him the ways of the world as I know it.
Well, a couple other things. We're sticking with the horror genre. You were in both remakes of Night of the Living Dead as well. That's a huge franchise into
one
itself.
so far. One is yet to come out.
One is yet to come out. But I know you're in it. So, but again, you iconic roles.
I think I didn't wake up and say that's what I'm going to do. I just want to be the best at what I do. And let's put it this way. This whole fan world is a whole nother avenue, something that I don't think anybody really visualized or saw. And Star Trek started it all, from my perspective, and also in the history of conventions. I mean, was there an I Love Lucy convention? Okay. So, and no, all respect to Lucille Ball. But I mean, my very first convention was in Vermont. A very small thing. I think they were charging $3 to get in. It was $3 per ticket. Nobody. It wasn't about the commerce. It was just about the fact that fans loved the show so much that they invited a group of people all the way across the country so that they could celebrate their fascination with the Star Trek culture and these people who had a small part. That's when it hit. I remember being with George Takei, and he was telling me, "You love it now, love it forever." And I've learned a lot. There's a lot of people that don't really enjoy the convention experience for whatever reason. It can be tiring, but trust me, I'd rather be home on wherever I'm at and my beautiful view and stuff. But if somebody asks me and they ask correctly to come out and see why people love what we do, there's no greater feeling. I don't mean to sound like a politician, but I mean that sincerely. That without the fan base, we're nothing.
Well, I know the fans, they love coming to hear you and see you. I was in line waiting for photos and other things, and people talking about you and talking about some of your, the things you did in your character. They're quoting your lines. I mean, there's obviously people out there that they may not know you, the person, but they sure like what you do.
Right. Good or bad, because I play equal. Good side, bad side. You got to be duality in nature, right?
So what's your favorite, good guys or bad guys?
Having raised 2 kids, I wish I'd done more good guys, and I have sought out playing decent father figures because I'm a father first, and I wish I had more of that. However, bad guys are more interesting. Ask any Shakespearean actor.
So as far as you're concerned now, I know there's more Star Trek in your future. You guys are dealing with Axanar right now. The Prelude is out. There's another scene out. You guys are still looking at finishing off the entire feature. This looks like it's going to be really, really interesting.
It does. When and if it gets done. I mean, I don't have a deal with that. So it's hard for me to talk about that.
Well, I know you.
Now, again, you're making me sound like a politician.
I know you've got to be on the fence a little bit about it because it's not officially licensed. I get that, but again,
I would like it to be.
You would like it. I think a lot of people would, especially after seeing the 20-minute long trailer.
Yeah, you would think. I can stand by what we shot, the 20-minute prelude. I'll stand. I mean, it took them a while to convince me that I should do it because not because it was fan-based run, but there's been a lot of bad fan-based stuff out there, and I didn't want this to be anything less than quality material. So they convinced me of that. They showed me that they're going to have behind-the-scenes people. The original director, Kristen Gossett, sat with me, had dinner with me, and told me this is what it's going to be. Things have changed now, and the date keeps being pushed. So let's hope that it happens because the fans will greatly appreciate it, but we don't know which way to go. The cards are going to go.
Well, as far as taking that off the table, any more Star Trek or anything in your future? What's new for Tony Todd? What's coming out?
This has been a great year. I've done 5 films so far. Opened the year with this film called Cold Descent, which is a supernatural western with Michael Eklund, a fellow Canadian. It'll be out by the end of the year. The Frankenstein thing I mentioned, the thing in Ukraine is called Paranesia. I know I'm leaving something out because I haven't had much sleep. It's been a wonderful year. My Twitter handle is @TonyTodd54, but most importantly, I'm working on a one-man show right now called Ghost in the House, which is about Jack Johnson, the first African-American fighter in world history, circa 1910, and we have our eye on Broadway for that. So, I know what it was. I'm racking my brain. You're making me think. Sidney Furie, who's 82 years old, directed things like Iron Eagle and Lady Sings the Blues. We did a passion piece for him called Drive Me to Vegas and Mars. Myself, Beverly Todd, Stan Shaw, Michael Lerner, That's a little gem that will be coming out probably February or March. And I shot that before I went to Ukraine, so that's good. Axanar, please happen. I know the fans want you. We want to see it happen. We want to see it be the best that it can be. And I think the work I've done on Star Trek stands for itself. I've been very fortunate and blessed to be part of this magnificent universe.